Hello y'all on YouTube, this is Rob with Rob's Nerdy Knives. Today we have a very special review, impressions of a knife that I got into my collection that I've been very privileged to get. And so let's take a look at this, the TRM Shadow. All right, so we're looking at the TRM Shadow. This is a very unique knife. This would be what many people would call a grail knife. And I was fortunate enough to be able to get a hold of one of these, right, as one of their last releases of the knife. And so it became part of my collection. Now, the sad thing is, I have not carried this knife. And I don't do that with my collection. Every knife I own, I carry. And I don't like to have things in my collection that are not carried. The way I enjoy my knives is if they're carried. And this knife has not been able to be carried yet. So I have carried it here at the desk, making sure I don't have any oil. Well, it's not oil. I didn't oil this knife, by the way. When you get this, they say don't oil this, and I didn't. So you're supposed to keep this dry. It's on phosphor bronze, and so it feels just phenomenal, just absolutely phenomenal. Stone wash blade, titanium scales. This is what they call the lizard skin texture. Kind of a gradius, and then it's beautifully rounded all the way around. Reminds me a little bit of the shaman kind of a feel with the scales here. Titanium clip, titanium scales. It's got some weight to it. It definitely feels pretty premium. It's got a fantastic finger choil. You can get a nice grip on. But everything about this is rounded and beautiful. They call this the river lock. It is the crossbar lock, but it's a river lock version of it. So it's really, really fantastic. So I'm assuming it has omega springs in there. Really nice. So you can absolutely work this, right, up and down. So it works really nicely. Gorgeous, gorgeous knife, beautifully dead centered, everything about it. Almost looks like a integral in the back, but you can see there's a slight seam there, but it's done so well that you almost can't see it. You've got screws there. Now, all of these are, I believe, T6s, except for that I think that's a T8 or a T10. I can't remember, but there's no reason for me to take it apart, so I won't. But you've got these beautifully kind of a volcanic kind of a thumb studs, which work really, really nicely. It's a super thin slicer. Full flat grind comes to a super sharp edge. This is so sharp. This is ridiculously sharp. It is crazy sharp. Now I've cut a piece of paper or two with it just to kind of show how sharp it is, but it is a fun knife. I take it out of the case, I flick it a little bit, and I put it right back, and I just never seem to carry it. And like with other knives I've had, like my Herman Sting and some other ones, I sell them. I sell them because there's no reason for me to keep them in the collection. So, yeah. Now, the big thing about this, and you probably all know, is that they stopped making this. And now this becomes a kind of a special grail knife. And some people are selling it. I saw it on eBay for $1,000, you know, and there's another version. They have the Mike Erie Hollow Grind, which was a special last run that they did. I have a Mike Erie Hollow Grind Atom. Love it. Fantastic. I didn't get the Neutron one, but it is Magna Cut, but that would be cool too. Really fantastic. This alone was just phenomenal to get a hold of. I mean, it took years to get a hold of this knife. As much as I love it, and as fantastic of a knife as it is, I just don't carry it. I have a lot of knives in my collection, and I need to do some catch and release, and this is going to be one of those that's going to be a catch and release, because I just know I've not carried it. I carry the Atom, I carry the Neutron very regularly, just do not carry this. And so I know what my rule is. My rule is got to be set free. So I'll probably be bringing this up for sale or be selling it at some point. Now, my goal is to sell it for what I paid for it, right? My cost, shipping, and then whatever it's going to cost me to ship and insure it to send it to someone else. I just want it to be a break-even sort of thing. I could probably go to different places and jack up the price and make money on this. Not my goal. Not my goal, just to break even, right? Because, you know, get a chance to get some content out of this and enjoy that. But it is definitely a phenomenal knife, and it's fantastic to have experienced and to have in my collection. But I can tell you, you know, there's nothing I dislike about it. Just straight up front, we'll get to the kind of a summary of what's going to happen at the end. It's just knife I didn't carry. And for whatever reason, sometimes they're fantastic knives that I don't carry. And they're great knives, and other people love them. It's just, I'm weird like that. There's some things I carry and some that I don't, some that work really well. And sometimes something I try to carry and then it bites me a lot and then it's got to go. This is not the case. It's just a knife that I just never carried. And so every time I picked it up, I don't know if it was like I felt like I don't know, I just didn't, I don't know, maybe I was afraid that I was going to do something with it, or I don't know, it just didn't sit like that day I wanted to carry this knife. So anyhow, I don't know, somebody who may get this knife, they may just make it a collection piece, a safe queen, which is fine. That's your collection. You do whatever you want. I have to carry my knives to enjoy it. And so that's a big deal for me. All right, so let's talk about the materials. It is titanium. Well, first of all, the knife name is the Shadow. This is the titanium version. They make these sometimes in G10. That's kind of cool as well. The manufacturer is TRM, Three Rivers Manufacturing. They're up in Massachusetts. Really neat company. The designer, I'm assuming it's going to be Les and Marianne, or at least Les. Probably he designs most everything. He and Marianne are the owners of the company, so I'm sure this is a Les design, just like he did everything else. The Atom, the Neutron, the Nerd, the Bulldog, and lots of his other knives. The Comet. There's a bunch of other knives. They're doing some fixed blades as well. So I'm sure this is his design. It is very cool. It's kind of like a reverse tanto. You can call this maybe a sheep's foot. I don't know what you want to call it. It's got a little square, so reverse tanto, modified sheep foot. I'm cool with whatever, right? It's cool. It's a cool blade shape. I like it a lot. The thumb studs are out of the cutting path mostly. It is super thin, so it's super wonderfully slicey. I like that a lot. Lock type is a crossbar, but they call it the River Lock. That's TRM's variant of the crossbar lock. It opens and closes with the thumb studs. Work really well. I think, can I? No, I can't really quite get the, I need a little, well, maybe I can do it low. Can I do it low? No. It's a little hard to get enough texture on there, but the thumb studs work really, really nicely. It is not reversible. It's right hand tip up only. So, you know, if you're lefty, maybe carry it back pocket, left pocket or something like that, I guess. I don't know. But it does work well being, you know, a crossbar lock. The River Lock works really nice left-handed. So I like that. The closing is phenomenal. Say not to oil it. I haven't oiled it. There's been no reason to oil it. The action's been flawless and perfect. Beautifully dead nut centered. Comes right to the very tip. Maximum execution of that. I love this pivot. It's a captive pivot, obviously. Beautiful over there. Everything about this is so premium. And yeah, now that I know that it's, you know, it's like they stopped making this. This is a huge collection piece. I'm not going to be inclined to carry it. So I feel like it's time to catch and release, right? So there we go. And I need more funds for the knife channel, right? This doesn't happen freely, and sometimes I have to cycle through knives, even fantastic knives like this that I was so excited to get a hold of. This is such a beautiful knife. It just kills me to do so, but I need funds for more knives, and this is one of those that is so nice. And I know so many people want this knife, and they want to have it in their collection, and they want to use it. So I feel wrong keeping this in my collection, right? And not using it. It needs to be in somebody's collection where they're really going to either use it or enjoy it or whatever they do, maybe make it a centerpiece, whatever. So that's the goal here. All right, blade shape finish. It's all, as you said, you saw stonewash. Stonewash clip is really nice titanium. The scales are nicely polished, but you know, really gorgeous. Gives you enough texture. It's got great feel. There's no hot spots anywhere. Even the clip is just perfect. Recessed clip into the scale, and the screws are almost fully recessed, just beautifully rounded, so it's not really in the way. You've got one screw over here for the scale on this side, and as you can see, this is one nice big piece of titanium, and it connects over here. So that's the connection part over here. And I believe this is just for the mega springs and the steel plate that's in here for the River Lock. You have one here and one here. That keeps that in place. And just like any Omega, like Benchmade or Hogue or anybody else who has those, that it's, you know, you need that there. So anyways, all right, so that is the materials. Very cool knife. Very, very cool knife. All right, so let's do some measurements. Let's do some measurements on this guy. It's not going to be a light knife. This is a big boy. So let's see here. We're at 5.6 ounces. It is not a super light knife. Just don't be surprised. There's a lot of titanium involved in this thing. This is a nice big piece of titanium. Not a whole lot of milling for weight relief, but it is a solid piece of titanium. You're getting a lot of titanium here. So that's pretty cool. All right, so let's look at the overall measurements. So we're looking at a knife that's around 7 3/4 of an inch total length. If you look at the handle from here, it's about 3.5, maybe 3 3/4. If you do the full finger choil, you get about 4.5 inches of grip. So I have large hands with big meaty fingers. So if you have extra large hands with regular sized fingers, double extra large hands with very thin fingers, this is about the grip you're going to have. Now with the finger choil, Got plenty of room up here, so extra large, double extra large hands with big meaty fingers. You got lots of room. And my big meaty fingers can use that finger choil really nicely. It keeps you nice and snug in there. You're not going to get a chance of getting cut in that choil. You got a good presentation, good finger guard. You're not sliding anywhere. Now, there's no jimping up here, which I'm okay with. It's a thin, slicey knife. That's what it's intended for, and we'll measure that here in just a second. All right, so let's look at the overall blade length. So we're looking at blade length. It's about 3 1/8 of an inch. Actual cutting length is going to be about 3 3/16 of an inch, probably. So definitely between 3 1/8 and 3 1/8. Oh, hold on a second. Did I? Oh, okay. Yeah, about over 3 1/8. So between 3 1/8 and 3 1/4. So not a gigantically thick knife, but you know, pretty cool. Now it's super thin and slicey, so let's go ahead and measure the blade stock thickness. This is the most impressive thing about this. It's 20 CV blade steel, which is really, really nice. So we're looking at 89.5 thousandths of an inch. So that's a 90 thousandths of an inch. That's 0.09 inches, less than 1/10 of an inch. It is a thin, incredible slicer and very consistent all the way through. That's impressive. So yeah, this is definitely a slicer kind of blade. You're going to get a nice cut because, you know, I mean, a hollow grind on this would be even more insane. And I know they made a hollow grind version of this, which it just must be even more insane. But there you go. Very, very cool. All right, so let's look at the knife category. So this right here is is it a budget? No. Is it a regular knife? No. Is it a high-end knife? It's barely in the high-end knife when I bought this, but right now in the market, this is definitely custom mid-tech level. This is grail level. Like the Holy Nerd, I think it was $700 or somewhere around there. I mean, it was not the Holy Nerd, the Mike Erie hollow grind version of this. This one was almost $600. So I mean, that's the price you'd pay for this, and that's what I'm going to be asking for, right? So it is definitely not a cheap knife, but it is worth it. It's USA made. Now, if you don't think it's worth it to you, that's fine. You don't have to. But I'll tell you that there's a lot of people who do. That's why it sells out all the time, and it's hard to get a hold of. So definitely a nice knife. Now, even at their $600 price, you know, the reason why you don't keep making knives like this is because it probably takes a lot of time, a lot of manufacturing that can be done with other things that are more profitable. Especially when you're a USA manufacturer, they don't have a whole lot of profit, right? I mean, they more knives they make out, the more profit they get. Less knives, they've got to charge a whole lot more, and that always gets to be a tricky thing with customers, and people get angry and stuff. So this, even at the price with the titanium one, it's kind of out of a lot of people's range, and I get that. I totally get that. So, but this is, to me, is absolutely worth it. If you ever decide to pursue something like this, maybe not this one, because by the time, if you just checking this out now, it's going to be more than what they sell for sure. Secondary market is already blowing up on these things. So I think it's absolutely phenomenal knife. All right, so what's the purpose of this knife? Is it a collection piece? I think so. This is absolutely a collection piece. It's moved into that collection piece, being that they stopped making these. Now, will they ever have some special runs of it? Who knows? Maybe, but maybe they're just special runs. I don't know. Maybe they'll have another version of the Shadow, something even different, a little better. I don't know. But this is, you're not going to see this anymore. So it's definitely a collection piece. Is it EDC in hard use? It absolutely could be EDC in hard use. It's a fantastic EDC hard use knife. I think you would absolutely enjoy this. It'd be fantastic to have in your collection. I think you would. It would be phenomenal for you. So for sure. But a lot of people are going to make this a safe queen because of the history and everything. You can see there's that little stuff going on there. And the billboarding on this is very minimal. The TRM logo, which is milled in there, and then they have over here TRM USA 20 CV. That's it. Very, very minimal, very minor. It's not a huge billboarding and nothing else. I like that. All right, so ergos and feel. It's phenomenal. It is phenomenal. It's the best as you can get with a crossbar lock. It is just so good. Solid in there. It's locked in. When you release it, there's no pivot play. And then you get the typical. You see the little crossbar lock. It moves when you do that. So there's not any detent lash here. What this is, you can see as soon as this move, let me show you. As soon as that move, the crossbar lock moves because it's fully engaged, right? So it's not loose. It's not sitting around shaking or anything. So the opening and closing is phenomenal. So you can do that, right? And then you can obviously use the river lock to open it as well. So all that works really nicely. Fantastic. Opening, closing it's it's what you would expect for a knife at this range, at this quality, at this price, right? It is just phenomenally done. Phenomenally done. I can't fault it for anything. If you're, unless the design, the aesthetics doesn't speak to you, if it just doesn't, you don't dig it, that's it. Maybe you don't like crossbar locks, and that's fine too. Maybe you're not a crossbar lock fan. Fine, don't be one. I get it. Maybe that's your thing as well. Totally understand that. But this, as far as execution, intent, everything, is just simply phenomenal. Yeah, simply phenomenal. I think it's just outstanding. Matter of fact, I think this liner here, I think that might be titanium too. Is it? No, it is steel. All right. So, but the inside it's just a big chunk of titanium. Yeah, big chunk. There is no steel except for the blade. The clip here is titanium. So there you go. Yeah. So opening, closing it's exquisite. It's what you would expect, right? So fidget factor, I'm going to give it a 4, a solid 4, because that's really what you have. Maybe you can get bonus in here if you got a little grittier hands or whatever, right? But it's definitely a solid 100% 4, because the thumb studs work flawlessly. The position there is just really phenomenal. Action is outstanding, and that river lock is just great. And the fidgety goodness, it's 100%. Just no question, it's 100%. This is what you would expect, and I was not disappointed. So absolutely 100% as far as I'm concerned. I think you would be very, very pleasantly pleased and surprised and enjoy this knife because of all of that. So there you go. Is it recommended? Absolutely. It's going to be a recommended high-end knife, no question asked. Unfortunately, it's going to be one of those knives that's going to be going off the market, so your secondary market is your best bet. And as the secondary market starts to pass the knife around, there are people who collect it, and that stays in their collection, and then it doesn't leave. And so then it doesn't go back on the secondary market, so there'll be less and less available. So just know that's how that works, unfortunately. But it is a cool knife to have experience. I'm glad I got to experience. I'm glad I had it in my collection. It's just, again, like I said, that's not something I carried. And I don't know why. Sometimes they're knives that I just don't carry. It could be because my meaty fingers, my shape, my finger size, my ergonomics. Someone with longer fingers, thinner fingers. Maybe it's more enjoyable, more. It's something that just fits in naturally for you. I think that's really my biggest frustration in this thing here is that. So definitely recommend it. All right, so let's go ahead and do some up nice close and zoom, because I know you want to see this knife. And since I have it, let's zoom in. Look at that big, beautiful flat grind. This is a nice textured logo right there. And there's the big volcano thumb studs are done so well. It's kind of a reverse tanto, modified sheep's foot, whatever you want to call it, right? This edge is ridiculously nice and even. Really, really great grind on both sides. All right, beautifully rounded on the scale here. You can see that all the way around, chamfered all the way around here. Just absolutely stunning. There's the titanium, and the milling on this is just great. Just great. And then you can see the top up here. You can see up here with the crossbar lock. I'm putting my finger in here. You can see that in here as well. And then this beautiful, it almost looks like a backspacer, but it's not. This is part of this scale on here, and it meets over here. And then it's held in place by these screws over here. And then you've got the deep pocket carry clip, titanium recessed or inset into the scale itself. Almost looks recessed, like these are recessed. It is partially recessed, not full flush, but it's really nice. It's got that little loop, so it's great for getting in and out. It's got a nice clip. It's titanium, very flexible, beautiful texture over here. Look at in here as well, nicely chamfered all the way around, all the way back here. If you look at inside, it is a big, beautiful block of titanium. It is gorgeous. And I think, yeah. So there's some holes right there. Is that just probably where they hold it? I'm not taking this apart. They recommend don't take it apart, so I'm not taking it apart for sure. But it's absolutely stunning. It's been in my case pretty much the whole time. So, and you can see that big, beautiful, nice centered, nice thin blade, nicely rounded. There's no sharp edges anywhere on here. I think that's really outstanding. Comes together right here. You better be dead on nuts centered when you do something like that, right? And then you can see back here, all the way back here. And then the clip is like almost fully hidden, right? And there's no lanyard loop on this one, so no lanyard loop anywhere, but you can definitely be fully hidden. So if you're a lanyard fan, I'm sorry. It's not quite there, but very, very cool, right? So let's go ahead and zoom back out. And let's take a nice little image here for our little picture for the video, we want to have a nice little. I always forget what the heck the names are. Man, why does my brain always do that? Yeah, the small image. I always want to say emoji. My brain, every time I struggle with this. It's so ridiculous. It's embarrassing, but it's ridiculous. Yeah, so there you go. You can see that beautiful texturing on there. That flat grind is just absolutely stunning. And then we can see the inside right here as well. And we can see the top right here as well, all the way across. Yeah, it is a gorgeous knife. It's an absolutely gorgeous knife. It's one of those, it's like, wow, you got to keep it. You got to keep it. And some people are like, just keep it. I don't keep things I don't carry. As nice as the knife is, if I don't carry it, I don't keep it. You can fault me for it, but it's what I choose to do with my collection. And that's why I feel like it's a catch and release. Someone will really enjoy this, I think, a whole lot more than I will. And probably carry it, enjoy it, play with it a whole lot more, and it'll fit their hand really wonderfully, and they'll enjoy that. So there you go. Fantastic little knife. All right, so this is the TRM Shadow. Simply a nice little stunning knife. I think you would be very pleased to have this in your collection if you were a collector of the knife. So I can tell you I recommend it. If you can find it, get it. In the aesthetic really speaks to you. You like a nice hardy knife. As far as one that has a little weight, you don't mind a little weight because it does have some weight. You saw that 5.6 ounces. And if that's okay with you, definitely going to be an enjoyable knife. I think that. But that thin, slicey blade is just phenomenal. One thing I've noticed about TRM, you can make them workhorses. I've used one of my TRMs. I used it in the yard, cutting boxes and all sorts of stuff. Anything's just not a scratch on it. Just wonderful. So there you go. Definitely interesting. TRM makes really good hard use knives. I like that. I like that a lot. So there you go. Let me know if you have any questions about this knife. I'd love to hear from you. Hey, if you found this content fun, interesting, worthwhile, or informative, would you please consider hitting that like button down below? And if you've already hit that like button, would you please consider hitting the subscribe button? Subscribing and liking the channel really helps out the channel produce more content, do more things, ultimately do more things for you guys. So thank you. Thank you to everyone who watches the videos, who likes the videos, who enjoys the videos, is part of the live stream. Thank you. Thank you. Seriously, thank you. If you haven't already, hit that notification button down below so you can be notified of future content like this video. And to all my channel members, a big thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. You guys really allow the channel to do some things way sooner than I ever thought we'd be able to do. So I am so grateful to you. You help out with the shipping cost and all the different things that add up. It's hard to do this. Sometimes when people loan me knives, I'm shipping a knife back. And if it's a real expensive knife, it'll cost me 50, 60, 70 bucks. I think there's a knife I'm going to get a chance to check out. It's going to cost me over $100 to ship that thing back. The insurance is going to be like $2,000, $3,000. We'll see if it happens because that's a lot of money. And it'll be scary to touch something like that. I already did with one. So, but yeah, I'm honored, excited about that. But I appreciate you channel members. I just want you to know that I appreciate you. So thank you. A small way for me to say thank you is I do two things. I do a once a month members giveaway. It's very exclusive just for the members. It is a nice knife. It's not a high-end knife, but it's definitely a full knife. It's not a budget knife. So it is a knife, we're talking usually 200 bucks or more, right? So I try to make sure it's a really nice knife, something you will enjoy. Definitely over $100. Maybe not quite $300, but definitely over $100, right? So I try to make sure I do something very special to say thank you. And then secondly, I do give all new channel members a sticker. Or someone who's been a channel member and is a channel member now, and you've never asked, never requested, never gotten a sticker before, email me and with your name and address, and I'd love to mail you out a sticker for me to say thank you and appreciate you for that. So that's what I do to all the channel members. So just know, thank you. Also, if you're interested and you thought, hey, I'd like to become a channel member, I'd love to have you. Don't feel obligated, but I'd love to have you. Check out the description down below. I have a link for the channel membership, 3 different tiers. Would be honored in whatever way you would love to become a channel member. Seriously, thank you. And if you haven't already, check me out over on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Again, that's on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day and a great week. Bye.